All right, so in this video, we're going to show you how to perform the audiogram using this audiometry machine. And first of all, introduce yourself to the patient, explain the procedure, and remember, explaining the procedure to a patient helps you to gain the patient's cooperation. All right, so hello, how are you doing today?
Good.
Good. Well, my name is Carlos, and I'm going to be performing an audiogram. We're going to be checking your hearing. Is that okay with you? Okay. And can you spell your first and last name for me, please?
Sandravara.
Okay. And your date of birth?
6/29/95.
Okay. And so what we're going to do is we're going to have you put these headsets on. Are there any reasons why you couldn't put a headset on? Ears, no ear infections or anything? Okay. So what we're going to have you do is put this headset on. You can adjust, once you have it on, you can adjust it for comfort. And also remember that the red goes to your right ear and the blue goes to your left ear. Okay? So if you can put those on, I'd appreciate it. Also, well, before you put those on, also, I'm going to be transmitting sounds into the headsets. And while I do that, or when I do that, I simply want you to press the button firmly. And just press it once and then you can let it off. Okay? So remember that when you hear a sound, I don't care how faint the sound is. If you heard the sound, press the button. Okay? So if you don't hear it at all, then obviously you won't press the button. Okay? You understand? All right, so go ahead and put the headset on. And here is the toggle. All right, here we go. So what we're going to do, folks, is we're going to set this back to 0, actually to off. And we're going to set this back to -10 decibels. Okay, so essentially right now, we're not transmitting anything. We're going to have to also make sure that we know what side we're testing. So right now we have it set to the right side. And what I'm going to do first is I'm going to transmit a sound by pressing this button. Okay. Okay. Now, if she saw me press that button and she pushed the toggle, then I would know that she's just pressing the toggle, okay? Because I didn't really transmit anything. We have it set to off. Now we're going to change the hertz to 125, and we're going to transmit it at -10. All right, here we go. Okay, so she didn't respond to that. We're going to now move this to 0, and we're going to press again. Okay, and there's no response, so we're going to move to 5. Does it go in increments of 10? Okay, we'll go to 10, and we'll transmit the 125 hertz. Okay, I'm going to move up to 15 now. Nothing. We'll move up to 20. Okay, she pressed the button at 25. So remember, 25 will be right between 20 and 30 at the 125. So just put a little dot on your chart between 20 and 30. It has to be at that point between 20 and 30. There's a line actually through there. And at the 125. You guys good? Everybody have the mark? Okay, so now we're going to take and turn this back to -10, and we're going to jump this up to what? What's our next hertz?
250.
250? Okay, and I'm going to transmit the first sound. No response at -10. We're going to go to 0. Okay, she heard that at... Did you hear the sound out there?
I was like, what am I hearing?
Let's try it again. The sound in the background might have come through, so... Did she press? Okay. What, at that one? At that setting? Okay, so 125 is at 35.
250?
I'm sorry, 250 is at 35. Okay, I'm going to set it back to 0. We're going to go now to 500, right? 500 is next. And so we're going to go ahead and transmit the first sound. No response, we'll go to 0. Okay, she heard that at 5. 500 was heard at 5. And you guys remember that from birth through the rest of your life, you start losing hearing first in the low and high frequencies. So we kind of expect people to have difficulty hearing the higher frequencies and the lower frequencies. So it makes sense that her hearing is starting to improve as we get into the higher frequencies. Okay, so we're going to move now to 750.
1,000 is the one that's on the chart.
So you can put 750 kind of between the two. Okay, 15 for 750. Now we're going to move it up to 1,000. Okay, she heard that at 5. 1,000 was heard at 5 decibel. And now we're going to move it back. Now, why am I moving my decibel down to 0 to negative 10 before I change my frequency?
So there's no like pop or anything?
Yeah, I don't want any sound to be present when I switch over to the lower frequency, because she's going to press the button, and I need to work up to where she actually can hear it. Okay, so are we at 1,500 now?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so at 1,500, we're going to start transmitting. Okay, she pressed it at 10, right? So 1,500 was at 10. Okay, we'll go back to 0, or back to negative 10, and now we're going to change it to 2,000. And here we go. We're going to start at negative 10. She heard that at 0. Okay. And we'll go back to 0 now. We're moving up to what? What's our next hertz?
4,000.
Well, let's go to the one in between, the 3,000. All right, here we go for 3,000. It's between the 2 and the 4. She heard that at 5 decibel. So 3,000 frequency at 5 decibel. Back to 0, setting it to 4,000. She heard that at 0. 4,000 frequency at 0 decibel. Okay, we're moving up to 6,000. She heard that at 10. Moving up to now 8,000. And here we go. And she heard 8,000 at 0. Okay, so now that we've completed the right ear, we're now going to go to the left ear. And now we're going to go back to off, back to 0, and we repeat this all over again. Now, if you, can you see yours? If you'll notice, she has slight, not anything significant because this is still really good, but she has slight hearing loss in the higher frequencies. So I should say in the lower frequencies. So you can see that we kind of expect that to happen. We kind of expect it to. Now, when you have somebody who's way down here and way down here on both ends of the frequencies, that's pretty significant hearing loss. Okay? But up here, close to the good, she's above that center, so you know she still has pretty good hearing. Okay, so let's go to the left ear. And would you like to do the left ear? Sure. Okay. You can work over here. And
How do we document the left ear? Is this?
it would be with X's. So at 125 frequency, it was at 30 decibel. Say it out loud. So.
At 5 decibels at 250.
Oh, 250 frequency is at 5 decibel. Oh, remember to go back to 0. Set your decibel back to 0. And now set your frequency higher.
At 500 hertz, it was 35 decibels. At 750 hertz, it was at 30 decibels. At 1,000 hertz, it was 15 decibels. At 1,500 hertz, it was 10 decibels. At 2,000 hertz, it was at 0. At 3,000, it was at 0. $4,000 was at 0. At 6,000 hertz, it was at 15. And at 8,000, it was at -10.
Couldn't be. You can't hear a negative 10. Do it again.
Okay.
Oh, she heard it? Oh.
I was looking that way, so you know it was.
Okay. Yes, yeah. After we. Is that it? Okay, turn it off.
Behind here. It gets boring after a while when you do this. It gets boring to be the person having to press a button. All right, so this is what you're going to put in the computer. You can go to the computer and put in all of these results. The computer doesn't actually record the doesn't want you to record the 125 or I think the 250. I think it starts at 1,000, 2,000, 4,000. So you're just going to put in the computer what the computer wants. It doesn't really care about the lower frequencies. And I don't know if that's because this is a student app or if it's because out there they don't really care unless you go in for a full screening. Everyone has to do one of these on each other. And then you're going to, while we're in lab, you're going to be over here conducting this exam. Now, please, if you don't know how to do it, don't just run through it and guess and just press all kinds of buttons. You can transmit sounds that are too loud and you can hurt their ears. So if you don't know what you're doing, what are you going to do? Come over and say, hey, Carlos, I still don't get this. Show me how we start and show me how we... Once you get the pattern going, I think it becomes pretty easy. Okay, thank you.